Here on the Colour of Country Life, good to catch up again with Andrew Partridge from Michell Wool. How are you, Andrew?
Good, Ricky. Yourself?
All right. A bit of a rocky week, I guess, for the exporters, but not bad for our wool growers in terms of what we saw on the auctions this week.
Yeah, spot on, Ricky. Certainly in Aussie terms, the market was good. Plenty of green on the page. The EMI was up 10 cents for the week at 13.77, but we look at that as an exporter and a processor of wool, going mainly to China, even into Europe. So we're seeing some values actually drop in the overseas rates, which was a bit of a shock to me personally. I do a bit of greasy trading into China and was expecting the market to be 30 to 40 cents euro based on the lower currency. When it comes off 3 or 4%, like it did, it should transfer straight through to the market, and the market should have been 3 or 4% dearer, but only managed to be a couple. So, it was a bit better for the growers, but interesting week for the exporter.
To what extent did the amount that was on offer feed into the prices we saw this week?
Yeah, good one, Ricky. The volumes, we generally see volumes over 50,000 in a week is harder to absorb, obviously, and particularly when things are a bit tough in China with the COVID lockdowns and so forth. So we had a 48,000 odd offer. It was capped out, as we mentioned there last Friday. We were capped out because we've got a limit to how much wool we can sell in any one sale room in any one day. So we capped out at 50,000 selling over 2 days, which is pretty big for 2 days selling. And then, next week we're looking a bit better. Obviously, we're closer to 40,000 than 50. So that could go with the seller, obviously, with a bit less volume coming forward.
Yeah, it looks to me from some of those figures, the amount offered in recent weeks has been, at that capping rate, and the amount passed in is relatively low. If you're a wool grower, you'd be pretty happy with that situation.
Yes, spot on. Yep, for sure. And particularly fine wools were good. We had growers this week at $2,500 a bale, $3,000 if it's really nice wool. But then you drop down obviously into the crossbreeds, and it's a different story altogether. Those guys are suffering on the 5-year average. The market's never been sort of lower in the last 5 years, so they're having a cop. And obviously there's a lot of wool, crossbred wool banked up on farms, and those farmers are waiting for that market to lift. And unfortunately, there's not too much good news for those guys going forward. It's just there's a bit of a glut in the system, but fine wools are a bit of a rage at the moment. We're seeing a lot of good premiums for good fine wool, particularly non-mills wool and these types of things. So, it's two extremes. But, all good overall.
But I guess that's been a good couple of weeks for the wool seller. But does that glut now start to feed into what's being put up on offer in the forecast for the next couple of weeks?
Going to be an interesting couple of weeks, for sure, Ricky. Like I say, with the currency down like it was, and if demand is good and improving, that should transfer to better prices in the auction room. We didn't see that this week. At the moment, this particular minute, we're going to relate it to the COVID in China and the purely the bit of a stomach ache, bit of a gut ache they've got over there with all the wool piling up on the wharves. We've got demand in China, I believe, but with the currency dropping and they can't physically handle it, obviously their end products are being devalued as well. So if they had stock at the higher dollar, they're having to cope with that price as well out the other end. So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks on how it transfers through, Ricky. But going forward, you can do forward contracts at a little bit under this price for the spring and summer of 2022. So, there's people out there that are thinking this market's not going to drop too far. So let's see.
I'm trying to think of the old saying. I thought it was when America gets a cold, the world sneezes. But probably a bad analogy. But maybe if China's got a cold, the wool market might sneeze, and maybe that's why it's diversified a bit.
Totally agree. Yeah, and gold, they used to watch the gold index. When gold was getting dearer, the wool market used to get dearer back in the 80s. That doesn't happen anymore because gold's obviously booming along at 1,900 or whatever it is an ounce. But, it does its own thing these days, wool for sure. Yeah,
we're looking at those broader export figures, even though a bit dated, but nonetheless the latest available figures show there's a 4% less reliance on China to 78%, but you've got India, Czech Republic, Italy, they're all picked up a bit in contrast.
Yeah, that's good. And I think we'll see that number even drop even further going forward. Labour costs are going up in China, so we're needing some more, more countries with low labour costs to actually look at doing more with wool. And even just quietly in the background, we're looking at, I think back in Australia, there's a bit of a look around to see whether we can't actually do more wool processing back in Australia. So that would be an interesting one, particularly for us as a wool processor ourselves.
Yeah, that's right. Stephen Reid and I talked previously about the federal government crowing about some grants they were throwing about the place to see if we could either put that up and running in Australia or somewhere near to Australia so we had somewhere else to maybe go processing if we needed to.
That's the future. Yep, that's the future of it. I think less reliance on China is a good thing. They've been great for us, obviously, to soak it up, and congrats to them. But, we've got to look forward and and look at those other countries. And there's other countries. There's no doubt there will be. There'll be some emerging country somewhere. Let's just see.
All right, Andrew, we will see you next week when we have another chat with you. Thanks very much for your time today here on Flow.
Have a good day.